So, what's your program name?
It's Z Hardik underscore billing details.
Can you come out of the program?
Sure. Okay, I'm out.
So, what is that you're not understanding in this?
If you scroll to the very bottom, where you have the sum, yeah, after this one, yeah, getting the totals for the net value and the amount. So this is what I was trying to do, but
You don't need to do this.
okay.
Again, as I said, when you're processing data, if you have to write a select to one table, you do only write once, one table, one select. You don't write select the same table twice in your program. The same way, when you're looping your internal tables also, in the one loop that you're looping, you need to handle everything. You don't loop the same table more than once. So since you're already looping your ITVBRP here, all you need to do is let's say define one variable.
Sorry, but your voice is breaking.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So all you need to do is define one variable. Let's say v underscore total, type fkimg, whatever variable.
No, it is actually
NETWR.
Yeah.
It is NETWR or NETWR underscore D?
Yes. No, it is NETWR.
Okay. Then here you simply say v underscore, what was the name we gave? V underscore total.
Total.
V underscore total is equal to v underscore total plus your NETWR.
Okay.
So at the end of the loop, your v total will have all the values. So let's write it here. Just give the position.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
So do you have the document number?
It's 900 3400.
900 3400. That's all.
Let me check. I actually don't remember.
Let me try this. Nope.
No. 900 34100, I guess.
31400.
31400, yes.
So here you have the total. Just align it.
I can align
to print it here. The same way you can also calculate for quantity.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fine. So anyone else? There's something wrong with my throat, so please bear with me. Vijita?
Yeah, Kiran, when we define or declare a table using data statement or data keyword, can we define table which is of some structure type?
Means?
Like I was trying to define a table saying data, some name, type table of, and I declared a local structure in my program using data statement again. So I was declaring a table type of that. So isn't that possible?
if you are referring your data object to another data object, in this case, the structure you are referring is a data object, right? You have defined it using data. So you can say like,
Yeah.
for example, I have this ITVBRK, which is referred to this structure, TYVBRK. If I want another table like this, if I want to refer the data internal table to this ITVBRK, that's what you're trying to do, right?
Yeah.
So you can say like table of instead of type. It will work. So if you're referring to another data object, use like.
So this
Sorry.
TYVBR
Uh,
is again a type, right? It's not a data object.
yeah, it is data type. So if you're referring to data type, say type. If you're referring to a data object, say like.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So in
Okay.
your case, you are
So
referring to something which is which was declared using data keyword, right? Previously.
yeah.
So that's a data object. So since you are referring to a data object, say like instead of type.
All right. Another question is uh, when give me a second. Let me log into my program. Maybe you can continue, and I'll ask you in a minute.
No problem.
I need to open my program to ask you that thing.
No
I
problem.
don't remember the name of table where I have a problem. Give me a minute.
Hardik, you have a question?
Yeah. No, I don't.
Okay. You can lower your
Uh,
hand. So anyone else has any questions before we move on with today's class? Karnakar?
Hi Kiran. Yesterday, due to some reason, I think I was not able to connect. So will you be putting that presentation in the website?
Yeah, most probably today. I'm actually having some
Okay.
serious problem with my network, so I just couldn't
Yeah, I
upload
saw
it
your.
yesterday.
Yeah, I saw your message. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
So today we'll discuss these internal tables. I think yesterday I've shown you how to use an internal table, right? How to define an internal table and different ways you can use those internal tables, how to retrieve data from the internal table. We can loop the table or read the table, right? So we'll continue with that. Today we'll discuss types of internal tables. What are the different types of internal tables available and what's the difference between all these types of tables. cdemo underscore July underscore. There are three types of internal tables that you can define in your programs. Okay, so we have standard table, standard tables, then we have something called sorted tables, and we have hash tables. Okay, so these are the three types of internal tables that you can define. So let's see how you can define these tables and what was the difference between these three tables. Let me define one structure first. Let's say TYMAKT, Matnar type, Matnar type, Spras and MAKTX. have this structure. If I say IT underscore MAKT type, if I say type table of TY MAKT, then by default it creates a standard table. So if I'm saying type table of the structure, then it creates a standard table by default. Okay, or you can say type standard table of. Either you can say type table of or standard table of. Both will create a standard table. Okay, and by default all the fields of this structure are the key fields. It is a default key basically. And when I talk about key of your internal tables, the key can be unique or non-unique. Okay, that means if I say Matnar and Spras are the key fields for this table, and if I say the key is unique, then there cannot be a second entry in the table with the same material number and language combination. If I say the key is non-unique, then the same key can be repeated in the internal table. For example, let me create one work area also. Let's say if material number Matnar Spras WA MAKT MAKTX. If I say, for example, in this table, the key is Matnar and it is a unique key, then once I append the first line with material number as 100, since in this case the key is Matnar, I cannot have a second entry with the same value, same key. Okay, if it is a unique key. If it is non-unique key, then the key can be repeated. I can have another entry with the same key in my internal table. If I say the key is Matnar and Spras, then the combination of Matnar and Spras cannot be repeated if it is a unique key, and if it is non-unique key, then it can be repeated. Okay, so for internal tables, the key can be unique or non-unique, and by default, the standard table has a default key, which is all the fields of this table of the structure are the key fields of your standard table. So you don't need to specify any key while defining a standard table. So standard table supports only non-unique key. You cannot have a unique key for your standard tables. So it supports only non-unique key. And you don't need to define the key while doing the declaration. So while you're defining your internal table, a standard table, you don't need to specify what are the key fields of this table. By default, it uses a default key. That is, all the fields of this table are part of the key, and it is a non-unique key. So key definition while doing the data declaration is not mandatory. Okay. So it supports only non-unique key, and you cannot have a unique key for your standard tables. You don't need to define the key while doing the data declaration, and it also supports linear index. That means whenever you add an entry to your standard table, it creates this linear index, and you can use this index access to read the table. Yesterday I've shown you, right? There are two ways you can read the data from internal table, either by index or by key. So if standard table supports linear index, so whenever you add an entry to the table, it creates an index. So you can read these tables by index. I can say read table XYZ index 3 or index 4 because these tables support index. So to add this supports linear index, so you can read the entries of these standard tables by using your index access. So that's your standard table. Now sorted table, how you define these sorted tables? Instead of standard table, if I say type sorted table of, it creates a sorted table. Sorted tables supports both unique and non-unique keys. You can have a unique key or a non-unique key for your sorted tables. Key definition is mandatory. You need to define the key while you're defining your internal table. Okay. Sorry, let me format it better. So you need to define the key while you are doing the data declaration. So if I say type sorted table of TYMAKT, it is an incomplete declaration. It will give a syntax error. With this, you need to say with unique key, because sorted table supports both unique and non-unique. So you can either say with unique key, matnar, spras, or just the matnar, or whatever key fields you want. So if you want a unique key, you can say with unique key and the key fields. If you want a non-unique key, then you can say with non-unique key and the key fields. So this is how you define a sorted table. So it supports both unique and non-unique keys. Key definition is mandatory while you define your internal table, and it also supports linear index. So you can read the entries of your sorted table by index. So you can use both key access and index access while reading the internal entries of this internal table. And as the name suggests, whenever you add a record to this sorted table, the entries are always sorted by the key. In a standard table, the system does not sort. It will simply add the new line at the end of the table. But with sorted tables, whenever you add a record to this table, the system automatically sorts the entries by the key. Okay, so these are the key characteristics of your sorted table. So it supports both unique, non-unique keys. You need to define the key while doing the data declaration. It supports linear index, so you can read it by index, and the entries are always sorted. Okay. Vijita?
How is the sorting order of non-unique key defined with the?
It just sorts by the key ascending order, matnar, and it sorts first by matnar, then by spras. If my key is matnar and spras, it has nothing to do with whether the key is unique or non-unique.
Okay. No, what I mean is if we are sorting with the key. So let's say the key is some string, and so it will sort based on the value inside that field, right?
Yeah.
So if it is a non-unique, then it will be
If you have the if you have a repeated value, then whatever value is added first, that will be there as the first value.
Okay, and we can also have combination like two fields together as a key. Then how do we
Yeah.
define